I've been drinking Kool-Aid cameras like I did when I was 9, cause I like to pretend that I haven't lost the time. In the end, the nostalgia, though it tastes fine, I can only drink a couple cause it feels like a lie. We'd play Halo and we'd lay low in our basement until the sun began to rise. We would go to school but not learn too much, cause it's hard to read when you've got tired eyes. Months go by, the time it flies, past the days that we drink Kool-Aid in the summertime. Years go by, the time it flies, past the days that we drink Kool-Aid in the summertime. They've been with me for some time, and it's nice to know that they still by my side. Friends are like stars, cause no matter how far, when it's dark outside, they will be your light. We'd play Halo, and we'd lay low in our basement until the sun began to rise. We would go to school but not learn too much, cause it's hard to read when you've got tired eyes. Months go by, the time it flies, past the days that we drink Kool-Aid in the summertime. Years go by, the time it flies, past the days that we drink Kool-Aid in the summertime.
Yo, I ain't here for the money, I ain't here for the fame. Though it might be nice to own a jet plane, I'ma do it all for you.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to episode 4 of the Beyond Streaming podcast. My name is OBJ, I'm the content director here at Skirata Gaming, and I'm joined by my awesome co-host Tevin. Tevin, how you doing?
I'm doing good. Thanks for asking.
Awesome. Well, unfortunately, I hate to disappoint, but today I am here in place of Lainey. Her router died about 2 hours ago, and we could make a whole podcast, a whole separate episode about the unpredictability of technology in gaming and all that nonsense. But I'll do my best to fill her shoes today. But I'm really excited about today's episode. We've got a longtime friend of mine and a great content creator, an awesome streamer here to join us. But before I introduce him, I want to remind you guys, if you're watching live on YouTube, to drop a sub because we upload Call of Duty content here every single day. And if you're listening after the fact on your favorite podcast app, make sure you follow or sub there and leave a review. A 5-star would be awesome. It would really help get our podcast out there and reach a new audience. So today we're thrilled to have LunchTime, or Jake, with us. Jake is a married man. He's a physical therapist, competitive Call of Duty player, member of Carnage Clan. He's also partnered with Control Freak and Respawn, and he's a YouTuber with 48,000 subs, almost at 50. And as of today, he's a Twitch partner. So really happy to have him on here. It's awesome to be able to get him on here literally hours after he made the announcement on Twitter. So Jake, welcome to Beyond Streaming.
Hello.
How you doing today?
Good. That intro was amazing. What an honor.
Man. Hey man, the honor's all ours. Now, I'd like to begin by asking a question that I've had for a while, and if you've mentioned it before, I apologize. But why are you called Lunchtime? Where'd that come from?
That is a great question that I've gotten before. So way back in high school, sorry, there's a dog here that is messing with my galaxy lights. So if those are moving around, that's the dog playing with it.
We welcome everyone here.
So back in high school, my buddies and I, this was way back on like Xbox 360 days, Black Ops 2, MW2, stuff like that. What we wanted to do for our names was a military rank and then a food. So there was a Corporal Cupcakes, Captain Baconator, a Colonel Popcorn, which that one was very punny. I'm pleased with that one. And then mine was Lieutenant Lunchables. So for the longest time, I went by LT_Lunchables. After I started uploading a little bit more, I think it was Modern Warfare, when I started taking things a little more seriously. I figured on the brand-friendly side of things, it probably made sense not to have Lunchables in the name. So I took the LT, shortened it to Lunchtime, kept it in the food theme, and then that's where we've been.
Awesome.
Now, and another origin question. So what was the first Call of Duty you ever played, or where did the whole gaming, when did you get into gaming?
Gaming, since I was young, like Game Boy Advanced, or Game Boy Color, like way back when. But first Call of Duty, I was a little late to the party because I wasn't allowed to play rated M games for a while. I would probably say World at War in like my friend's basement playing zombies was my first like true Call of Duty experience. And then the first one I think I ever bought and owned was Modern Warfare 2. So
Okay.
yeah,
Cool.
the good old days.
Yeah, I also had my origin on World at War with as far as Call of Duty is concerned, but it was sneaking into my basement at night to play it.
There you
because
go.
I also was not allowed to play M-rated games, so I know how that goes for sure. And how did your interest in Call of Duty get you into the competitive side of the community? Like, how did that whole thing start, really?
Yeah, that was actually that was back in Black Ops 2 as well.
Okay.
League play was huge back then, and that was really the kind of the bridge that brings people from public matches to competitive without having to invest in like game battles and wagers and tournaments and stuff like that. So that was really what got me into it. I made a game battles account while sitting in band class in high school, I think. That's when I first made my GB account, and then it's kind of gone from there, I would say.
What'd you play in band?
I was on drumline, so everything percussion.
Ooh.
Snare?
Okay.
I did tenors, or the quads, with the 5 drums around.
I love it.
I haven't played much, but since high school I haven't played much, but I loved it. I loved that back then.
I can definitely picture it.
So how did you hear about GBs? Who or what? Scump.
Yeah, Scump. And Scump and Nadeshot and all them back then, I think it was that might have been during the MLG.TV ordeal where they were forced to stream on there for a while.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So they would upload and stream all their game battles matches, and that's what really piqued my interest, on top of everything League play as well.
Is it safe to say that Scump is your favorite pro right now?
I don't know. I haven't been as invested in the pro scene as I probably should be, given that I do competitive stuff.
Okay.
Scump definitely, like, he's got the crown. He's the king of competitive Call of Duty for sure. But in terms of who I'm invested in, I can't say that I have one pro in particular that I watch every single game they play or stuff like that. But yeah, Scump's definitely the GOAT for sure.
Okay.
Yeah. And so are you partnered with 1v1 Me?
Yes.
Okay. And so what do they do? How does that all work?
So what they're trying to do is kind of find a new place for, competitive wagers and tournaments that, unlike the other websites, they don't take any fees at all. And I'm talking with Anthony a lot behind the scenes on how they really want to stand out from the game battles, the CMGs, because there's so many websites that that do wagers and tournaments. So to just start one on your own, you can't expect it to be profitable or to change the game if you don't do anything different. So
Right.
that's what we're doing, is having a lot of talks with him on how to make the app stand out. And I'm excited to see kind of what they end up doing in the future to do just that, because GB and CMG have been at the top for so long
Yeah.
with not even trying, to be honest. No offense to the websites, but I don't know. There's just a lot of things behind the scenes that they could do to make the experience better on both sites.
Yeah. Well, GB has just kind of become synonymous with competitive Call of Duty. I feel like,
Right.
I mean, if GB this, GB that, it's a household name. So at least within this community. So yeah, I can definitely see that. And now you've been to a few LAN events, right?
I have.
And yeah, a few. And I remember, I think the most recent one you were at was with Tristan, and I don't remember who all else. But what was it like to go to your first LAN event, and what do you like most about that environment?
Well, I've really only been to maybe 3 or 4 LANs total.
Okay.
3 major ones. There was CWL Atlanta in Infinite Warfare. I think it was CWL Atlanta again for World War II, and then it was CDL, the Atlanta Homestead, during Modern Warfare, which was like literally right before COVID. I only competed in 2 of those, and I say competed. I've always been more content focused than competitive focused, so really we showed up, lost twice, and then watched for the rest of the time. But we had fun. But the whole environment is just so unique. It's super cool.
Yeah. Well, I didn't know that you went to CWL Atlanta back in 2017, because I was there spectating.
No way.
But yeah.
When
were you under a certain like org, or were you guys just there to?
No, we were there. It was United, right? That one.
Yeah, that was their breakthrough.
Yes.
That they were an online team prior to that, and they beat Optic in the grand finals. Yeah.
Infinite Warfare, baby.
Yeah. No, that was a crazy event, and I haven't kept touch with many of the people that I met there, but it's crazy to know that you were actually at that event. I mean, knowing where you live, it makes sense, of course, but I had no idea.
Where are you located at again?
I'm in Cleveland. So.
Okay, so where did you stay, in like a hotel and?
Well,
all that?
Yeah. A friend of mine who was in Skirata at the time, and he was in Phoenix, and he flew out there, and I was living in Missouri then, so I also flew out, and yeah, we hung out for the weekend. Just hanging out with the pros. That whole environment is really really
Nice.
cool, and
Yeah.
of course the scene has grown a lot since then, and it felt big back then, but everyone was still out mingling with the crowd the entire time. You could just walk up and talk to whoever you wanted, and that was. As someone who'd been watching all that on YouTube for a long time, even though I'm not like a comp guy myself, to see that and to have everyone there in the flesh was really an eye-opening experience for me. But as a spectator, anyway,
Yeah.
so that's pretty wild.
Though competing twice, you said that the content creation, you were leaning towards that more. What strayed you towards that, away from just competitive gaming?
Well, to
Like
be
just-
honest, yeah. Back in, I think it was Advanced Warfare, I feel like every competitive gamer has that one point in time where they're like, I'm going to give it my all. I'm going to go pro. Like, I'm going to grind my way to the top. And then for 99% of the people that do that, there's always that one moment of harsh realization where you're just like, it's not going to happen. It's not for me. And for me, it was, number one, I'm not good enough. I try my best to be as good as possible, but I think my ceiling is nowhere near the ceiling of the high tier wager players or the pro players. They're just built different. They're born different. But on top of that, in terms of school and family and, work and all that jazz. The timing didn't end up working out because for the pros, they're grinding 14, 16-hour days just to, maintain their level at the top. So I don't know, just kind of an accumulation of everything led me into taking the direction of content and uploading and streaming instead of necessarily grinding for, that pro spot.
Yeah.
Around what time did you start going into content creation?
Infinite Warfare. Which I think, I don't have the title of the stream up with me, but it's something about finding your niche, correct?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
And that for me was Infinite Warfare. And it didn't seem like it at the time because the COD community was in shambles, but
Yeah. Sure.
as you guys know, the less saturated a market is, the easier it is to find your way in. So that was how I think I found my route for uploading and whatnot.
And I guess as a follow-up to the question before that, what advice would you give to someone who is maybe, trying to decide whether or not they should go into the content side of like doing something like what you do with Twitch and YouTube and so on? If they should do that, or if they should like put all their eggs in one basket with the comp scene and just kind of like grind to land a spot on the stage. I mean, how do you decide, what's best for you? What would you say?
That's a good question. I think the COD community is at a weird point right now, at least in the competitive side of things, to where your name means just as much as your skill level, especially with as prominent as hackers may or may not be. Making a name for yourself in the content scene, I think, is just as important as making a name for yourself in terms of dollars earned, tournaments won. So for somebody that was wanting to try to balance that line, I'd say that you have to. You have to find a way to do your wagers, do your tournaments, while also making content, whether that be streaming, uploads. Content is king. That's what's so great about Scump, and what's so great about Nadeshot back in the days. They were the first ones to really understand that.
Yeah, I talked to a lot of people who are in that position of they might be very good players, but they're not. I wouldn't say they're not like really trying with their content, but they might be focused more on the, well, we need to find a squad, need to do this, need to do that, and so they don't get the publicity or the platform that would be needed to move on to that next level. So I can definitely see that being a really helpful move for someone who's looking to get a breakout onto the COD scene. But but I thought it was interesting that you mentioned like Nadeshot and Scump and all them, because I remember a few years ago, Optic put out a book where they talked about the beginning of the organization and how everyone hated Hex's guts at the beginning because he would like demand all the competitive players would make content, and that just wasn't something that was really done. You had like your FaZe trick shotter type people, and then you had the competitive people, and there wasn't really a whole lot of overlap. And so, but he realized the importance of YouTube and then what would later become like Twitch, and so kind of expected people would do that. And so I think that there's a lot to that, and a lot to what Hex kind of foresaw a decade ago now. But yeah, that's good advice there.
And then just like what Lunch said was you said you realized like you hit your ceiling, like there's a whole nother level above it. Because I remember, like, it's funny because I remember like specifically when earlier this year in Cold War, how they're doing like the content creators and pro tournaments and stuff like that. Like they were mixing up the teams and squads, and like Merc tweeted, and he's like, I just played against Simp and you're not that good, just so you know, like give up. And everyone was like in like rampage about it because they're like, you're just ruining people's dreams. And he's like, no, it's just a different level of people that are out there.
It's crazy, and especially how young Simp is. Just he's nuts.
Yeah. So you mentioned Infinite Warfare, and I'm not going to make this into an IW themed podcast, but
no, I mean we can.
well, we could. We might have to have you back for that one. But what was it about Infinite Warfare, or jetpacks in general, maybe that you like so much? Word on the street has it that IW is like top 3 COD for you, at least.
Oh yeah.
Why?
I think there's some sort of, I mean, there's a nostalgia for every Call of Duty, but with that being the one where I got my grounds for streaming and uploading, I think it holds a special place for me. But I think if I try to take my bias away, I really think that it's the best jetpack Call of Duty.
Yeah.
Really? We have 3
Yeah.
people that this
Agreed.
might be the first time that there have been 3 people together that agree on this. This is
Yeah.
amazing.
Absolutely agree that IW is the best jetpack COD.
We don't welcome IW haters on Beyond Street. So, but
Just in terms of, the fluidity, the gunplay, the maps, I just think if you take that and compare it to the other jetpack Call of Duties, it only makes sense. And the connection,
yeah,
the engine, it's not even close in my eyes. Not even close.
I love the TTK in that game, and I feel like they just took the best of AW and BO3 and kind of refined it, like the wall running, the clunkiness of like Treyarch COD. They just made it real smooth, and it looked good, felt good. I know people were tired of jetpacking after 3 years, but I think it was a great COD. And if it wasn't for the other 2 right before it, I think that it would have been universally loved. Like if that was people's introduction to jetpacking, they'd be like, "Oh, this is great." So
that was it too. People decided before the game came out that they didn't like the game. That was the problem.
Yeah.
That was the problem.
Unnecessary slander towards that.
Yeah.
game. Without a doubt. So, you said you started competitive around Black Ops 2, correct?
Competitive. Yeah, as
Yeah,
competitive as like game battles and league play can.
Is
can
there,
be.
so leading up with league play all the way to now, is there a favorite game mode or gun that you prefer over all of the rest? Yeah, one that just lies dearly in your heart.
I think Uplink in all of the games, I think Uplink played really well. And I hate that domination and control ended up being like the third competitive mode just because it's so hard to watch as a spectator. But like your CTFs, your even Blitz from Ghosts and Uplink, it's just so fun to watch as a spectator compared to the other ones. And it's so much, it's easier to pick up on. But if I had to choose a favorite in terms of game mode, I'd probably have to go Infinite Warfare Uplink. I really, really liked Uplink in that game.
I loved Uplink. Yeah.
And I think you asked gun as well.
Yeah.
I think probably the BO2 AN94.
Ooh,
Either that one or the MSMC. Those are both top tier.
man of culture.
That's awesome. Well, again, shifting gears a little bit, I got to congratulate you on Twitch Partner. I was just talking the other day about this with Visma, and I said, Jake's gonna get it. I don't know how many tries it'll take, but he's gonna get it, and it'll be soon. And then same day or later that night, put out the announcement. But how did that grind treat you? Because you've been doing really well numbers wise, and you've definitely qualified for partner for some time now. So how did as a whole the Twitch partner grind go for you?
Yeah. Well, first of all, thanks. I appreciate you.
Yeah.
I think there was a point in Modern Warfare when the game battles really started to blow up on Twitch. I think there was a moment where there was a lot of overlay from the YouTube audience to the Twitch audience, and that caused a big spike in viewership. But with my schooling at the time, I took a 16-week, I guess, hiatus from streaming, kind of in the height of all that, which really sucked. But I had to for school. I was on a clinical rotation that was probably about an hour and a half away from home for 4 or 5 days out of the week. So if I had to decide if YouTube or Twitch was the one to focus on. And at that point, it had to be YouTube. So I did all my recording, editing, and uploading in like the 2 days of the weekend that I would be home, and then scheduled it out for the 4 or 5 days that I'd be in my rotation. And I have talked for so long that I forgot the original question.
No, I was just asking how the Twitch partner grind
Yes.
Went for you.
That's where I was going. So it sucked to take that hiatus and to start again once I got back and see the numbers not as high as they once were.
Yeah.
But something clicked with League play and Cold War, because on top of that, Cold War viewership had not been looking very good at all for such a long time. That for League play to finally click with viewers and with an audience was really good to see. So I'm happy that we've gotten to this point. Super excited about partner. I don't even know all that it entails. I just see a cool little check mark, and that's enough for me.
Pretty cool. Yeah. Well, I think I found you first on. Well, I'm not told. I think I found you on Twitch before I found you on YouTube.
Oh,
and
really?
Of course, that was shy of 2 years ago now. But back then it was like, we have a handful of people in chat, just kind of chilling, watching you play and whatever, and that was a great time. But to go from that to now, where you press live and the chat just is flooded with people, and a lot of gas there. I mean, it's really awesome to see. And like you said, it took a little time for League play and stuff to get warmed up in Cold War. Pun not intended, but but really awesome how that's played out. I think the community has definitely grown accustomed to it, and to see it benefit people like you on Twitch is really, really cool. So yeah, awesome to see.
Yeah, looking forward to Vanguard, seeing what they have in store for their ranked play or League play or whatever it may be.
Hope we don't have to wait too long for it.
Yeah, that's the other thing.
So you hit Twitch partner, which again, congrats. That's
Thank you.
Awesome, amazing. And your YouTube channel is doing amazing as well.
Thank you.
So balancing it, did you ever get burnt out at all at some points or anything like that? And if so, do you have any tips for people who are trying to do the same to like help get through it or avoid it?
That's a good point, or a good question. In terms of editing, when I first decided that I wanted to upload videos in Infinite Warfare, I always told myself that if it ever felt like a job or a hassle, I would stop right there. If it ever wasn't fun, that would be my moment of being completely done. And there have been times when, like, preparing for a vacation or something, I'm up super late editing 5 or 6 videos to schedule out. But as a whole, I don't think I've ever not enjoyed the editing and uploading side of it. In terms of streaming, there are times like now where, at least in my eyes, once I've established my kind of niche audience of League play, it's October. Not a lot of people are watching Cold War. People haven't wanted to play Cold War for the past 5 months. So I'm kind of battling that now in terms of where I draw the line between what I want to play and what I think is best for me to play for my current growth and audience right now. So for people that are worried about getting burnt out or maybe burnt out, I would say just to always make sure that you're enjoying what you're doing. If you make every video, every stream better than the last one, then that'll set you on the right path for, I think, continuing to enjoy it, because you'll see that progression and whatnot.
Yeah. Well, I do want to mention we have a lot of beautiful people in chat, but we will be taking questions for a little Q&A at the end of the show. So for anyone watching live, feel free to just type it out in chat. We'll take a look at it there toward the end, and hopefully get your questions answered by Jake. But I do want to ask, I don't know how long you've been daily uploading on YouTube for, but you do that, if not daily, you do it very, very often.
Mm-hmm.
And so how do you decide what to upload? Do you just kind of go through VODs or record gameplays and just kind of pull from that? I mean, there's so much that you could do with that. What does that creative process kind of look like for you?
Yeah. I think early on, I made the mistake of only wanting to upload like a really good game. And that was like the whole part of the video was I did really awesome at this one point at this one time. And then in Black Ops 4, when I was uploading then, that's when I had the realization that that's not all that people want to watch. You know, if the title of your video is going 20-2 in a search and destroy, people already know what happened. There's no point in necessarily watching. So going more of the I don't know the word I'm looking for. Instead of the content side of things, like the storyline side of things. So finding something that makes the gameplay or whatever stand out. And sometimes with things like trash talkers or something like that, you're not in control of when that's going to happen. So it's taking those moments that you're recording and determining what will look the best later on. So some sort of mixture of planning ahead with videos and then also being able to react to what's happening and make good videos out of that.
That's one thing I definitely noticed, because I started before, like when learning about you and stuff like that and going to your YouTube channel, that was one thing I noticed was like your titles weren't like the usual like clickbaity type or anything like that. It was just like nonchalant, normal, and it did work because I was like, I wonder what's gonna happen in here. Like it was like just something like simple, and it really just had that natural like gravitation to it and everything like that. And so I loved it.
Thank you. And it's a lot of like scoping out the scene too. Like when stuff is really working for other creators, finding a way to make that work in your field as well. And I don't want to pretend like I have, you know, the perfect titles or I have everything exactly down to a T, because sometimes you upload something and it is an immediate 10 out of 10 and you're just like, all right, well, you tried, you got to move on. But it's equal parts learning process as well.
Yeah. Well, the open-ended title thing is definitely, and I say open-ended just because, like you said, you're not giving away the ending. Oh, I went 20-2 or whatever. I mean, that whole thing has worked pretty well, at least for me, because I see these sometimes ridiculous titles. I'm like, what the hell's going on here? So I click on it, and then I get sucked into the video, and it's not just like your, high kill game or whatever the case may be. Your generic class setup or something, like it keeps you watching, and I'm sure the view duration probably is higher than average on videos like that, if I had to guess. But that's it's super cool what you've done with that, and also like you were mentioning, not trying to get burnt out on Cold War, but seeing you go back and stream like BO2 and upload some of the old games has been really, really fun as well. Have you seen any like big fluctuation when you do play those older games, or how does that work, like Twitch versus YouTube, would you say?
Yeah, it's an interesting line to kind of balance on, because there's not much discoverability on Twitch. You know, what you've grown is what people will see. So to do like throwback Call of Duties and stuff like that, the hype might not be as high for it, but
right.
On the flip side of things, on YouTube, you can title and make a thumbnail that will really attract people that have never heard of your channel ever before. So that's kind of what I've had to balance as well, is what kind of throwback content I want to stream versus what I want to upload and stuff like that. So when, like you were saying, going back to Black Ops 2, I found that there's a Discord server that runs like a League Play emulator through it. So I thought that was perfect for both streaming and uploading, because it kind of fit right into my little niche. So I've had a ton of fun with that. I haven't gone back in like a week or two, but I probably should here shortly. It makes a lot of sense for this next month or so until Vanguard drops. Yeah,
a lot of throwback content.
So at this point, what would you say is the most difficult aspect with growing your YouTube channel?
I would say probably with the last year, just trying to find a way to make Cold War work to a certain extent. And I really lucked out that League Play ended up being that thing that really connected with people. But I don't know. I would imagine that not in that niche, it'd be really hard to continue growing at this point in Call of Duty's state.
Right.
Just because the game itself doesn't have a lot of hype behind it. But I don't know. The most difficult thing for me right now, I would say, is just kind of this point in the off season, not really knowing what exactly to upload or not upload, how much I want to keep things the same versus how much I want to branch out. I think of it as more of like a waiting game before the real content starts in November.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure. Now, the flip side of that, what do you like best about YouTube as a platform and just, the whole process of editing videos and uploading? What do you like best?
It's got to be the unknown. Everybody's chasing the secret algorithm that nobody quite knows about. So just those times where you'll edit a video and you'll think, that wasn't that good, and then it performs better than your last 20. And then there are times when you spend 6 hours editing a video and it barely takes off at all. So just that, almost like the gambling aspect of, what's going to work, what's not going to work, and trying to cater that luck in your direction best you can.
Yeah. Well, that unknown is that's so true. You spend all that time editing one video and you think, oh, I did really well in this gameplay, or this is super funny. I'm going to make it the best one ever. It's going to blow up. This will be my breakthrough. And then, 7 out of 10, 9 out of 10, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then one that you just kind of don't really think about and just throw it up there because or whatever. That one does really well.
Exactly.
And I think it's the same way with TikTok and with the YouTube Shorts as well. There's such a high degree of chance and uncertainty that goes into that. Even if you play all your cards right with YouTube, you think you're getting the algorithm, quote unquote. But at the end of the day, you really just don't know. So yeah, that is really fun. And do you have any tools that you use on YouTube? Like for me, I've always been a fan of vidIQ. I know some people use TubeBuddy to kind of scope out the scene before you get into your video planning. But I mean, do you use anything like that? Or
I do have, I think it's TubeBuddy, whichever one kind of lets you see all the tags that people are using and whatnot.
I think they both do that. Yeah.
Yeah. I think early on, I really focused on the tags, but I think to a certain extent they don't help very much at all. So in terms of scoping out the scene, it's really just watching whatever gets recommended to me for the most part, or sometimes I'll search things that I think I want my channel to be the top of, and then find whichever ones are at the top of that search and see what they're doing right versus what I can improve on and stuff like that.
Yeah, well, I think it's really interesting, the question of how much the tags actually affect the performance of the video. I think it also depends, at least in my experience, on what kind of a video you're uploading. If you're doing a class setup or something that that people are going to be searching for.
Mm-hmm.
For example, I know you always do the a league play setup for the new DLC guns and stuff like that. We do too. I think we're the only two people that do that.
There you go.
If you look it up, LunchTime and Skirata Gaming right there. But that's something that people are going to be searching for, and so I think it helps with the ranking. But with stuff like what you do, where you're uploading, your games and funny moments and that sort of thing, it's probably a lot more from the recommended feed and stuff like that, recommended page. In which case, the tags really don't do a whole lot, and so it's something I also scoped out. I've looked at your channel before, and I've taken a look at the tags and stuff, and yeah, you're just lunchtime, Cold War, league play, whatever, and it doesn't seem to make a whole lot of difference. So I have to think that anyone who says the tags are everything is pretty much full of it.
Yeah.
So
that's
with
cool.
Uploading all the league play videos, and that's what you predominantly stream and stuff, was there ever any doubt or any worry about with how big Warzone started to get? Did you ever think about ever switching sides to Warzone, or did that just not interest you at all?
Yeah, I think in the height of Warzone, when it first dropped, I completely stopped playing Search and Destroy and game battles and all that jazz in Modern Warfare. and I completely focused on Warzone. And I think it was a mixture of my channel didn't really take off in Warzone, as well as I didn't enjoy it that much. And there's probably a little bit of overlay there too. So it was a little bit weird, and it still concerns me to this day, especially when, Warzone streamers, as much as I love them, will wake up on every single day of the week. They'll wake up and play for $20,000 just because they do. And then your everyday search and destroy tournament, the payout is $7.25 or something like that. So I think
Wow.
there's also a difference because it's not bringing in as much as the Warzone hype's bringing in. So I hope one day that the hype behind competitive Call of Duty and search and destroy tournaments on a casual level will be at the same level that competitive or casual competitive Warzone is. So I think there's a lot of fun in watching people that are really good at the game but not necessarily pros grinding it out or battling it out against one another. And if that could translate over to regular multiplayer, I think that'd be really cool. Maybe one day.
Yeah. So have you seen a whole lot of overlap between your Twitch and your YouTube communities? Because I know a lot of people, at least now that there are so many different platforms to work with, they might focus on TikTok, and then that blows up and their TikTok kind of spills over into Twitch, or they do that with YouTube, or vice versa, Twitch to YouTube. But have your communities on? I mean, are there two communities, or do you see a lot of returning viewers on both YouTube and Twitch? And then I guess I would just say, if one feeds the other, which one do you think that would be?
Definitely the YouTube feeding the Twitch. But I think in terms of the community aspect, I think the Twitch community is where the magic happens. And that in terms of the community will feed back into the YouTube. So I think in terms of the growth on Twitch, that has come from the YouTube. But because I'm able to, talk to people and have conversations on Twitch that I'm not able to have, on a daily basis on YouTube, right, then I think the community aspect starts to build up from there, and is translating back into, comments and what people are typing out over on the YouTube side of things too.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I tend to see a lot of people, at least in the comments on your videos, people that I do recognize from Twitch. So there's certainly a diehard base of people that are going to be in both places, I guess, which is awesome to see. But yeah, that's cool. Now, I'm sure you have a lot of thoughts about this, but how was it going through PT school, physical therapy, while also trying to grow on Twitch, grow on YouTube? And on top of that, you've got your family life and all sorts of other obligations. How did that all work out for you? I mean, it did. You're a physical therapist and a partner, so
And still married.
Yep.
Balancing everything.
Hats off to you.
I mean, I don't want to act like I'm the epitome of balancing different aspects of life, but when it comes to things that you care about, I think that you'll find the best way to make time for each of them. PT school kind of ended up being it was obviously a good amount of work, but I have a lot of friends who are one friend in particular who's in med school and having to study 8 hours a day, and that would just be impossible in terms of balancing any other part of your life, let alone gaming and uploading and streaming. So I think it was a learning process. There were definitely some points in time where I had to put one thing in front of the other, especially with that 16-week period I was talking about earlier where I couldn't stream at all. So the PT school part had to take the forefront. But now I'm trying my best to balance with working part-time as a PT and then trying to find a consistent stream schedule, which I haven't found yet. as well as spending time with my wife when I get to spend time with her, because she works nights at a hospital.
Oh wow.
So I feel like it's always like reevaluating and making sure that you're putting as much time as you need to in all the different aspects of life that you care about. So
Yeah. Well, it's really impressive. Definitely an inspiration. I mean, I've I can't imagine. I don't even know what to say at that point. But
It's impressive.
So obviously you went through all of PT school and stuff, but is that something you want to do in the long term, or would you, I guess, in a perfect world, if all things went your way, would you rather stick with the content creation side?
I think in a perfect world, if I were to just skyrocket through the roof in terms of content, I don't think I would have a problem going full time. But it's nice to have the guarantee or the consistency of like physical therapy to work with, and I still enjoy it a ton. So that's the other thing. Yeah. So when I am, working, I'm not hating my life through every part of it. I'm still able to get worth and enjoyment from that.
Yeah.
But if I were to put them on a scale, I think that everything content would definitely be number one.
That's awesome.
Love it. Now, I think following that question, we hit our 45-minute mark, so I think we should probably start taking in some questions from the audience.
That's
From
quick.
everyone's there. Time flies when you're having fun.
Dude, it sure does. It sure does. We've had a lot of interesting comments. I'll say that.
Yeah. Speaking of the Twitch community, I see them there.
Oh yeah. So we'll start with Viola's backup. Do you see streaming as a hobby or as a job?
It's got to be a hobby, I think. If you treat it like a job, and especially in the days when you're starting early on, it's not going to be a job. There's little to no income from it, so you have to treat it as something you do for fun. And it's interesting now with me. I started my first year of PT as part-time, so I could treat gaming like a job. It still doesn't feel like it. It still feels very much like a hobby, and I feel like that's the best way to make sure you're getting enjoyment out of it at the same time.
Yeah.
Thanks, Viola.
If you're coming home from work and feeling like you're going back to work, seems like there's something not quite right about that.
Right. Exactly.
That wouldn't be too great. We've got Lil Megan in chat here. What's your goal? What's your goal you'd want to reach by the end of this year?
End of this year, like 2 months from now?
Yes.
Yeah. I believe so.
Short term, maybe?
Yeah.
Short term goals?
I would say find the swing of things in Vanguard, because there's going to be a weird period when it first drops and there's not a lot competitive going on. I haven't been much of like a pub stomper or pub player in a long time, so just finding a way to kind of make Vanguard content work is what I would say my goal by the end of this year.
Yeah. So you just got Twitch partner, and I guess looking more at the grander scheme of things, the long-term goals, what's next for Lunchtime? I saw the 1v1 Me CEO tweet out that you're going to be the most famous comp creator in the world in a year or something like that.
God, I've been so gassed up in the last like 24 hours. It's unhealthy for me. I need to like let some of the gas that's in my head just dissipate.
Deserved hard work.
Yeah. What do you want to do with Vanguard?
I was actually talking about this the other day. I want to be good. In Cold War and Modern Warfare, I've just been like, chilling, playing GBs, playing XPs. I want to be good. I want to play wagers. I want to win tournaments. I want to actually focus on like winning.
Yeah.
And finding a way to incorporate that to content.
What's exciting is ranked play apparently is going back to the ELO system that World War II had and BO2 had. So no more of this little division type setup. So that should be exciting to see. So rank play should actually take off again, hopefully. And if things stay at the pace that they are, it should be extremely good for your channel as well.
I hope so. I really hope so. I didn't play a ton of World War II ranked because I didn't like World War II that much. But from what I've heard, all the pros, everybody says that it was the best ranking system to ever be in Call of Duty. So I'm looking forward to seeing that in Vanguard.
Well, you answered my question because I was going to ask you if what you thought about the World War II ranked system, and because I remember when they added League in Cold War, everyone had a meltdown because they apparently hated it so much. They're like, this isn't what we wanted. We want World War II. Well, now we have World War II again, and we're getting the ranking system back, which will be hopefully good for all the people that missed it. But yeah, we've got Quentin Casey in here. What advice do you have in terms of streaming when people have consistently low view counts and grow frustrated with it?
Great question, Quentin. A lot of people make the mistake of when they're streaming and they don't get enough viewers that all they need to do is stream more, and that's simply not the case. You need to half the time that you're streaming and then use that other half of time to branch out into YouTube, into TikTok, into Twitter, Instagram, all that. Because, like I said earlier, there's not a lot of discoverability on Twitch. You know, there aren't too many people that your stream is immediately shown in front of. So you need to branch out, have people come in from other websites or other means of seeing your name and your skill and what reason they would have to come to your stream. So that's what I would say. Upload on other sites as well.
How much time do you dedicate to well, I know you can tell the audience about how long you stream for at a time, but how long do you spend on the editing side for YouTube?
I would say I try to stream at least 3 times a week, around 4 or 5 hours per stream. And I upload around 5 to 6 videos a week. I would say in terms of start to finish, from editing the video, titling the video, making the thumbnail, each video probably takes about an hour and a half on average. Sometimes longer if I'm focusing more on in-depth edits and whatnot. Sometimes shorter if I'm just throwing up a hard point start to finish. So whatever that kind of translates out to, usually it's like 1 day a week. I spend the majority of that day scheduling out everything for the rest of the week.
You've wow. Well, that's got to be pretty important for avoiding burnout. You're not streaming. Of course, you've also got the job and your wife and everything, but to not be streaming 7 days a week and 12 hours at a time or anything like that, to try and pace yourself a bit. It's definitely got to be helpful on the mental and the physical side of all that.
Right.
Skirata Tricks in chat here says, on a scale of 1 to 10, how good looking are the hosts? I better not say anything about that.
I have a question for you. Is there any way you can get you guys out of the screen and just me on? Is that a setting?
It sure is.
Can
I'll take you out. Don't you worry about it. Well, I'll take us out here.
10 is the answer. Thank you.
Huh. Okay.
Solid answer.
So
Respectable.
he's a 10 and we're zeros. Glad to
Tell me something I don't know.
glad to hear it. Well, Trix says 11. So
Thank you, Trix.
I'm not sure. I don't know if you're referring to the two of us or to Jake or everyone, but I'll take the 11 there. We've got Dawkins here. Would you still do Twitch if you weren't getting paid?
Dawkins. Yes.
We love Dawkins.
Yes, we do love Darwins. Let's call him Darwins. Yes. And people like Dawkins, people like Viola, and everybody else in the stream are the reason why it's as rewarding as it is. So, yes is the answer.
Yeah, you have an amazing community behind you. Like I went today was like the first time I didn't lurk. Like I went in and I was like immediately greeted by everyone and stuff like that. You were immediately engaged as well. And then you also had a 360 trick shot as well. And I was like, all right. I was like, that deserves a sub. So then I like immediately subbed after that and everything.
I'm so glad you saw that. That was crazy. No, but really, I've noticed that with the people that we've kind of gained from the stream over the years, they slowly become, actual friends where we, hear about what's going on in their lives. And I find myself like playing with a lot of the people that were in my stream previously, just off stream, just for fun. So I think that's the best way to do it. I know it's easier from like the standpoint of a smaller community when you don't, like when Scump has 2,000 people watching him.
Yeah.
You can't necessarily do that, but yeah, to make actual friends with people, it's super cool. It's really unique too.
Yeah, I've gotten to know. I mean, I don't know Dawkins too well, but I've gotten to become familiar with him and a lot of the people from your chat, who I also see in a whole bunch of other chats. They all just kind of move around between you and your friends, and like it's a really great community. Shadow. I mean, there's a lot of awesome people that I see them everywhere, and I'm always amazed by that. And it says a lot about you and the people you surrounded yourself with to have made such a great group of people. So
yeah, well, I can't take any of the credit for it, but I'm happy to be around the people that are around.
Well, I did want to ask earlier, how do you avoid the negativity of the competitive scene? Because a Call of Duty, especially comp, has a reputation for getting a little spicy at times. I mean, I know you're here for fun and to do your thing on content, but how do you avoid that?
Yeah, I don't know. There were some points, especially in Modern Warfare, when people were talking, and typing in chat and stuff like that. Sometimes they would get a little too personal, and it like a couple of times, I don't want to admit it, but they did get under my skin. I just try not to let it show on stream. But I think just kind of like reminding yourself that, if people are trash talking you personally, you're probably doing something right. When you have haters, it means you're doing something right. So I think keeping that in mind kind of helps when it gets bad.
That's good advice right there. We've got Viola's back up again. What's more disrespectful, shooting the body or staring at it, shaking your head?
Wow, that is a great question. I would have to say probably the middle finger emote is probably trumps all. No shooting a body or shaking your head will be more disrespectful than the middle finger emote.
The fact that they added that is still shocking to me.
It's fantastic.
I love it.
Before that, I think I took shaking the head a little more personal, because like that's just like
really?
Disappointment. Like it's one thing like if you get beamed and like your body gets shot, you're like, yeah, like I kind of got shit on. But like if they just shake your head, like it's just disappointment. It was funny because like we asked someone, we're like, what's more disrespectful, like being flipped off or like someone just giving you a thumbs down? Because like when you get thumbs down, you're like, what did I do? Like, why did I deserve that? Like, it's just one of those things. Like it's just disappointment, just shaking your head. So that's my answer to that one.
Yeah, I like it. I think you've gotten me on your side. Actually, I think I agree with you. Because it's much more personal when they're shaking their head.
Yeah.
Especially when you're watching in spectator.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
Oh, we've oh no, that's not what I wanted to highlight. We've got the actual Tristan here in the chat, so gotta give a shout out to him. Don't think he's asked anything quite yet, but oh, there we go. Favorite teammate? Answer wisely.
Ooh, that's a really good question. Probably me. Got the dog barking. Probably Boop, to be honest. Sorry, Tristan, but I think Booper's got to take the cake. He just exhibits everything into perfection in terms of egoing people, being disrespectful, and being just downright nasty at the game. So we're gonna go with him.
Awesome. Got Rogue One. we touched on this a little bit earlier, but favorite part of streaming and posting videos and least favorite. Maybe a little recap for people who might not have been here.
Favorite part of streaming and posting videos. For me, it's like always trying to make your next video better than your last. If you kind of treat it like you're improving in what you do, I feel like that's a really rewarding part. And when that translates into increased viewership, that's really cool as well, and really rewarding. In terms of streaming, the favorite part's got to be the people. I think every streamer would say they'd rather have 5 people in their stream and everybody talking than 300 people in their stream and 1 or 2 people talking and not that deep or important of conversation. So, and the least favorite, I would say probably like a creativity block. Always stinks when you're not really sure what to do. And least favorite part of streaming is probably the trash talkers, is what I'd say.
So I want to touch on that a little bit. So knowing that like you edit your own videos and stuff, is there a video that is your favorite or one that you're most proud of that you've made?
I actually, when I was thinking over this podcast, I was hoping that question would be asked. My favorite video of all time, this is gonna be cringe. There's a streamer, her name is Brit Brat, and we played against each other in a game battles match, and it got incredibly toxic. And I probably spent 6 to 8 hours editing this compilation of like toxicity from both sides. It was like trick shots and people yelling. And I was super proud of how perfect the mixture was between like the competitive aspect between both teams and like showing the comedic toxicity that was there as well. I think the video was called like "I'm hacking, I'm sorry," and I put like Logan Paul in the thumbnail or something. It's so stupid, but I love that video. That video was so funny.
Oh man, I'll have to find that and link it in the description or the show notes after the fact. I was trying to find it, but
God, I apologize in advance to people who decide to click on it.
It's all right. If we weren't a washed podcast, we would have had it all ready to go. We'd give a little intro, but no. I definitely want to check that video out. That's super funny. Oh my god. So let's see. Teminoy says, which role do you prefer to play, AR or sub, and does it vary depending on the title?
Ooh, like which Call of Duty?
Yeah, I assume.
I'm a sub player through and through. In Black Ops 2, I started out, I loved the AN-94, but ever since then, I've been sub player all day. If you look at my league play stats, I have like 13,000 kills with the 74. I only have like 1,000 with the Krig. So SMG or sniper. I love me some sniping too.
Cool. Tristan's back here again. Who is the real reason we lost to Silly in IW on that weird snow map?
Oh, he meant Illy. We lost to Illy.
Okay, I was gonna say.
Come on, Tristan. So Tristan,
Lady United. Sheesh.
I've tried to convince Tristan to do content for the longest time. And the one time he did, he uploaded this tournament gameplay of us losing to Illy in an Infinite Warfare tournament when he drops 11 kills and I drop like 2. So that's his claim to fame right there. The real reason we lost, Tristan, I know you want to hear it. I didn't get the kills, man. I didn't get the kills. I'm sorry.
Oh man, the shade.
I was nervous.
Berkey says, what's your favorite and least favorite weapon in terms of having fun in League play?
Ooh.
On Cold War, I'd assume.
Yeah. Honestly, the Farah is high-key underrated. The Farah is really, really good. So I would say that's probably one of the more fun guns. Least favorite? Probably the Milano. I really struggle using that gun. Probably that one. Yeah.
Okay. I like the Milano, but I don't play League, so it's probably a very different situation there.
Well, you can use better attachments when you're not in League too. So the Milano is probably nasty when you're not limited to certain attachments.
Very good point. Yeah. Very good. Okay. Well, we'll go back to Tristan again. How would you describe your play style?
When I'm trying my butt off, I like to be as weird as possible. I want to when I'm doing my best, I feel like I'm in the opponent's head and doing everything they expect me not to do. So
You want to be that person when they're like, why is he there?
exactly,
Like that.
exactly. That's the exact type of player that I want to be. And in recent CODs, you haven't been able to do that as much. I feel like Cold War is very straightforward in terms of playstyle and strategy. But in the modern warfares and whatnot, where there's a lot of places for you to hide, I feel like that's where I can shine.
Cool. Viola says, "What are you doing when you hit 100K subs on YouTube?"
24-hour stream. You heard it here. You heard it here first.
How about 50K? Are we getting a new merch drop? I mean, getting a little
know.
old over here. A little ratty.
I will say I don't have anything in the works, but I do think that'd be really cool. Also, 100K is when it's Facebook official that I upload and stream. Now I'm very self-conscious when it comes to talking to family and friends about uploading and streaming. But 100K, I've said I will unashamedly post on my personal Facebook that I am LunchTime, crappy league play YouTuber. That is me.
Has that ever affected your mindset at all? Like kind of keeping it under wraps from your personal life?
Early on, yes. And I think that's a lot of the reason that people, at least when I was in high school, that's what I thought. That's a lot of the reason people don't want to take that step into YouTube and streaming when that's something that they really want to do deep down, because they're afraid of being judged. And to a certain extent, I still am. But I feel like it's so worth it in terms of the reward that it's worth it to be made fun of every now and then. I think my dad mentioned my YouTube channel in his speech at the rehearsal dinner before a wedding, and I was just head in my hands.
That's awesome.
Embarrassed. I'm sure it was an amazing dad moment for him to embarrass me one last time before sending me off. But 100K subs, and I'm there.
Yeah, fair enough. I think that's something that we've talked about with probably every person we've had on here so far. Just family not really getting it, or IRL friends, or whoever, where you're kind of, now you have the benefit of having a quote unquote real job and having gone through school and everything, but just the whole, seeing content creation, it's like, oh, you're playing your games, and what's that going to get you?
Yeah.
It's kind of a tough thing for a lot of people to deal with. But
and I think I saw Nick in the chat as well a little bit earlier. He was one of my earlier teammates that I ever played with. Oh yeah, and now he's dogging on my play style. So,
oh boy.
But in Advanced Warfare, I wasn't allowed to bring my Xbox to college because my parents were worried that my grades would suffer, and that was a big moment for me in terms of that was when I thought I was going to go pro. So that hit deep. But years later, I can say it was the right decision. And I might have not spent that entire time studying. I probably did a lot of partying, but I think it was a good decision to take that step away from gaming for a little bit.
Cool. We'll go with a few more here. We've taken up a lot of your evening as it is, but let's see. Okay, so Nick did ask a good question here. Who did you come up with when you first started competitive? I'm sure you had a duo or two along the way.
Yeah,
where did it all begin?
That's him. It was Nick. We met in the Game Battles free agent ladder in Ghosts, Call of Duty Ghosts, and we've been gaming ever since then. So
that's awesome.
Yeah. And that's another question that I get a good bit is, how to find teammates to play with. I think the two most important things are, number one, do you vibe well? Do you have fun with each other? And number two is, are you a similar skill level? So Nick and I happen to be, we fit those two parameters, except the second one because I'm way better than he is. But we vibe really well. That's actually a joke. He carries me. He's years and years older than me and will not play the game for 6 months, but then he will hop on and gun every single person on the map. That's just the kind of guy he is. So,
Legend.
yeah. Don't be afraid, for people who are looking for teammates. Don't be afraid to not team with people when they cross that line of being rude or not being a friend to you. I would say that's most important.
Cool. Okay, I think we'll end with a final question from Dawkins here. If you didn't play Call of Duty,
Ooh.
what game would you play?
I would. Wow, that's a good question. I haven't really grinded a game that wasn't Call of Duty for so long. I would probably go with one of the PC ones, maybe like an Apex.
Okay.
Maybe an Apex. It's got to be a first-person shooter for sure. But I don't have enough experience in non-Call of Duty games to say which one I would grind.
So you won't be hopping on the New World bandwagon?
I don't think so. No, I don't. I know I would get sucked into a game like that, but I think it's just best for me to not take that first step in the first place.
Fair enough. Well, Jake, thank you so much for taking some time this evening to sit down and talk about finding your niche on YouTube, competitive COD, Twitch. It's been really great. Meaning to have this conversation for a long time, and I think people are going to really enjoy listening to this. So, thank you for being here.
Thank you guys for inviting me on. It's been a ton of fun.
Of course.
It'd be great to have you back on here sometime.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm a fan of what y'all are doing. I think that these kind of conversations are they don't happen very often with, smaller creators in the scene.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I have high hopes for y'all. I think.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I think this is a good direction.
We love bringing people on and finding out why and how they do what they do. So this has been really awesome. Tevin, any closing thoughts?
No, it was nice getting to know you. You seem like a super awesome guy. You'll definitely see me a lot more in stream and stuff like that. And I just wish nothing but the best for you, bro.
Well, you seem great you seem great as well. Thank you.
All right, guys, thank you for watching live. Be sure, again, to drop a sub on YouTube or follow wherever you get your podcasts. And we'll be back hopefully in a couple weeks with the beautiful Lainey in place of me. We're looking forward to getting her back on.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever. But thank you, Jake. Thank you, everyone. We'll catch you in the next one. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, guys.